I am Star Penn. I am your leaky gut coach, and I'm also the founder and creator of the JIA Blueprint, where I help moms and families to reverse their child's juvenile arthritis, uveitis, and other autoimmune issues by getting to the very root and the core. So, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and please give it a thumbs up. Share it with as many people as you think would benefit from this information. This helps YouTube to know exactly what kind of people are interested in this kind of information, and it is going to help the GIA community as a whole and help so many more moms find healing for their children. So let's get into this discussion about genetics, because a lot of you have come to me saying that you were told by your doctor from a blood test that your child's JIA is actually genetic. And whether it was explicitly stated or not, or misunderstood, or maybe even misexplained, you might have been led to the conclusion that this means that your child's JIA or uveitis is irreversible. So let's talk about this, because what I really want you to get out of this video is I want you to understand what this means as far as it being genetic, and what the good news is for you as a mom, and how you can really work these genes in your benefit. Okay, so let's just start and think about this. Your child's JIA is genetic. Genetic from whom? Did you or any of your cousins or siblings have juvenile arthritis? Did your parents or their siblings have juvenile arthritis? And what about their parents? Did any of these have juvenile arthritis? Arthritis as a child? The answer is probably not that you know of, right? Probably not. But that's what we tend to think when we are told it's genetic, that like there's all these genes in our gene pool from our ancestors, and we don't know what the body is going to pick up, what it's going to grab when our child's being made, the soup of what makes them, right? And that somewhere in the past, in the ancestors, they got this random gene that causes JIA, or that is a JIA gene or something. Is that what you thought? I know that's what a lot of people think is inferred when they are told that their child's JIA is genetic. So what I want to do today is explain just what this means, that it's genetic, and just really what you can do about it, and really how hopeful really this situation is. So excuse me. So your child's DNA is, it's a strand. It has a tons and tons of genes all the way from your ancestors. And so the study of epigenetics, which is just exploding right now, tells us that all these genes that are in our body, for good or for bad, have the ability, and it's our lifestyle that will cause this to happen or not. Our body, our genes have the ability to turn on and turn off. So I kind of want you to picture, those like children's storybooks, or, where they have those little windows that you can lift up and see what's behind them, and then you can close them and you can see what's behind them. So when all these genes are down, right, or all these little tabs are down, you get the image behind it. And then your child can lift one up here and lift one up there and lift one up there. So an upturned immune system, an upturned gene, is how we end up with an autoimmune issue. And then there's also, our bodies can downturn genes. And a lot of these medications that we use to stop autoimmunity or stop JA downturn the genetics that our children have. And so we really don't want to do that either, right? What we want is a modulation. What we want all the genes to be perfectly where they're supposed to be. And we want to see that beautiful picture in the background, right? Okay. So these genes can be flipped up, flipped down. That is something that's very controllable. And that's something that we have power to do for our child's body. So what exactly do they mean that it's genetic? So what gets passed down from you from your parents, the other parent and their parents, and so on. And this can go back about 6 to 8 generations this way and 6 to 8 generations that way into the future, is an upregulated immune system. Something happened. It could have been trauma. It could have been, it could have been chemical, industrial, or something like that. And, and then nowadays, you're in my generation. I mean, we're probably all upturned and we have nothing to give our kids except for an upturned immune system, an upturned, genetic strand. Okay. But so regardless of what caused it, for maybe directly from us, maybe we got it from our parents, maybe our parents got it from their parents. But what we've inherited in that gene sequence wasn't an autoimmune disease. It was a turning on of a certain gene. And so this is that DNA that we hand over to our child when they're born. They're given that strand, and if these DNA markers are turned up in us, they're going to be turned up in them. But the problem is that since the Industrial Revolution, our parents were sicker than their parents. We certainly got sicker younger than our parents, and our children, it's epidemic at this point. There's never been a time in history with so many sick children. So you're not alone. Other children might have other different genes turned up. And so you might feel isolated. You might feel like, oh, I don't know anyone with JIA. All these kids, the vast majority of these kids, have something, unfortunately, that gives them an upturned, the genes are turned up, the immune system is, and they're struggling with a whole host of things. I want you to understand that because this gives you knowledge and hopefully the power, and feel like, oh, they didn't just get JIA because it's like in stone, in a blueprint, like a thumbprint in their DNA. No, all that it is an immune system that you handed them with turned up DNA in places that needs to be modulated, needs to be regulated. We just want all those little tabs to flatten out. Okay, so this is something, epigenetics. Please look into it if you haven't, or if you've not heard of it before, because this teaches us that it's very much possible that these genes flip on and off, and it is something that we very much have control over and can change in our child's body. Before I go, I want to share with you a very promising hope, and I hope it motivates you to do something proactive about your child's JIA and really get to the root of it. If we can get to our children before they have children, and we can modulate their DNA, that means no upturned markers, no downturned markers, regulated, and they have children, their children will not have autoimmune disease. You will be passing on a legacy of health. And with your children, if you can get this regulated at this young age, while they're still pliable, while they're still young, while they're still growing, it is very unlikely that they will develop autoimmune disease in their adult life. And just think about, and I hope you remember I said this benefit can go 6 to 8 generations. You are giving the best gift that you can give to your children and your children's children by modulating your child's immune system now, by really coming to understand epigenetics and genetics and how this all works. Don't let this idea that your child's JIA is genetic make you feel powerless. That is not what this means. They are not doomed to have JIA because there are genetic markers. All this is just information. And it's probably information you already know in a way, because you probably have something autoimmune going on yourself, or your husband does, or you both do. And you might even see it in your parents as well. So all that is telling you is something you already knew. We all have flipped on immune systems. And this is something that is very, very possible to modulate and to so that way your child does not have these autoimmune markers anymore. So we have the genetic component, we have the gut healing component, which has to be done, and we also have the detoxing and getting all these pathogens and all of this inflammation and these toxins and these metals out of the body. When we do all of these things together at once, you'd be surprised when I say it's simple. It's not easy, but that really is the formula, and that is how we reverse our child's JIA. I also encourage you to please, if you haven't already, find me on Facebook, the JIA Blueprint, my public edition, because we talk very intimately with one another there and share our stories. And I make sure to answer everybody there personally. And I would love to have you and be able to help you, guide you on this journey as much as I can. Well, you have a wonderful rest of your day. I look forward to sharing more videos with you in the future, and take care.